So one of the most beautiful things about South Africa's history, in my opinion, in terms of their space program, is the degree to which there are student-led and amateur-led efforts. And I think we see that history reflected in a lot of its official programs as well, both SANSA affiliated and other agencies within the South African government. But let's start with some successes from the recent past. So there are three main satellites that are all student-led that are kind of the mainstay of what I'm talking about here in terms of the student-led efforts in South Africa in the aerospace industry. The industry of the ZACube-1. And a lot of these are not launched in South Africa. A lot of these are launched in the former Soviet Union. For instance, this one right here, the ZACube, was launched in Russia. But it's one of the early. This was a relatively recent launch, having launched since the founding of SANSA. But the other two satellites we'll look at are predate SANSA itself, but are still crucial to its history into why the South African government is investing into a space program. For instance, here is the SUNSAT. Now, these all have slightly different names depending on how things are being categorized. And I'll go more into that in the discussion forum, so I'll make a thread for each one of these satellites, as well as some of the various other things we'll be discussing today. But this, for instance, was launched in 1999, and again was launched by students. And a lot of these satellites are image recordings, and that's kind of, I would say, one of the more practical aspects of SANSA's current leadership. Now, a lot of people, when they think NASA or aerospace or space in general, they think of spaceships, they think of rocketry, they think of going outward. But a lot of the South African experience has been about photographing the Earth and using that to help the people of South Africa. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I want to discuss the final satellite that I wanted to quickly speak about, and that is, and forgive my pronunciation, I feel like I struggle to say these, but this is the Sumbalidi Sat. And again, this one was launched after, well, right around the creation of SANSA itself. And it, much like those other two satellites I mentioned, have received a name change as the South African government has gotten more and more into, or involved with, I should say, the promotion of aerospace technology and science in the country. So we can see here, I'm going to highlight this for everyone's benefit. The program was renamed by the South African government. And that's something you will typically see here. But again, another student-led aspect. And we will see that this is something that is a motif in South African aerospace. But this is a bunch of great information on this particular satellite, and I will share this as well as other aspects of these satellites on the discussion forum. Now, I had mentioned that South Africa is, one of the things I've noticed is that it focuses a lot inward, or as I say, it focuses pointing back towards Earth, and a lot of that has been taking satellite imagery of South Africa for use for local governments, for use for climate data, and in particular, there's something called SANSA-DO, and that is SANSA's drought monitoring system. Recently, South Africa has undergone an absolutely horrendous drought, and one of the ways that SANSA is helping the everyday South African is by, and we can see here by this animated GIF, that they're able to track in real time the amount of rainfall in terms of crop yields. They can do all sorts of real-time photography that they couldn't do before and that wouldn't be possible without SANSA. And this is making a serious impact on the everyday South African. But let's get back into the actual structural history of SANSA.